Hi all, you're watching eSpotlight, a program brought to you by Golden Jubilee Centre for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. This is Simran Kaur Rathore, and today I have with me an entrepreneur who figured out the code to success at a very young age. Co-founder of Space 5 and founder of Map My House, Harkaran Boparai.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's such a pleasure to have you with us. And I think it'll be very interesting since I've seen your journey from the very beginning when you were a student.
Of course, it will be mutually shared.
I've seen you as a public speaker.
I know.
I've seen you participating in a lot of debates. We participated together.
Yeah.
How do you think that has complemented you and your personality?
Honestly, since you know me since a very long time, and largely what I feel is that when you know the knack to speak in front of the public, when you understand what impresses people, the way when you go out in business, what people are basically, they read your body language, they read how you convince others, and whether you are very confident in the kind of work that you're doing. Be it my work with Space 5, be it my work with Map My House. At all the facets of my journey throughout, what I have been trying to do is pitch that is not existent and trying to make some sense out of that. And I guess my public speaking and the very fact that we both initiated our way into communications while we were doing our education here, that has been instrumental in making a mark.
So as far as your education is concerned, you've done bachelor's in architecture. What skills do you think are required? And do you think our education system is preparing students to become successful architects? Or is there a gap that you feel should be filled?
Honestly, Simran, there are basically two facets how I see it. Being a very young entrepreneur and the way I see the industry around me. Firstly, let me be very crude and clear that we don't get as much talented people as the industry requires, and it's a balanced truth right now.
Mm-hmm.
I have offices across 3 cities, and I do consistent amount of hirings, and I speak at different universities. The kind of education that is imparted normally is not as much aligned with making people, let's say, highly employable, what the industry demands. We are entering into the age of AI, we are entering into the age of virtuality. Now, there is a requirement of change. Having said that, what I really appreciate in our education, especially in the higher education system, is the way education is imparted. The journey is really excellent. Mm-hmm. Somebody enters into a bachelor's in architecture knowing nothing about the industry, and by the time I was in my 5th year, I had already done 10 projects. And I know for sure that if I had done it in somewhere, let's say abroad or somewhere else, I would not have been that prepared, because we are exposed very well. Mm-hmm. The exposure is excellent, but the curricula that is taught and imparted needs to be revised given the demands of industry. And the industry connect has to be there.
Right.
Now, who knows, let's say if I'm hiring somebody in Map My House, I need people who are technocratic. I need people who are excellent communicators. I need people who can think out of the box. And if I go for hiring, let's say a 4th year bachelor's in computer science guy, he doesn't know that. Mm-hmm. And by the time he becomes skilled to that level, I already have to contribute another 18 months of my pay scale to him.
Right.
So therefore the employable pool had, that is really, what can I say? That is restricted to the top-notch education centers right now. Mm-hmm. That's what I have felt. Mm-hmm. So as a young startup, because when you can't pay as much salaries, no, I am no HCL, I am no TCS. I may not be able to give somebody 15 LPA right off the hook. So when I can't do that, I have to settle with universities which are not IITs. Therefore, I need to have access to still that kind of a skilled candidature.
Right.
That I can get in IITs. Mm-hmm. So, though the top-notch institutions have that, the other institutions across all our states, for example, GND is one of the great institutions that we have. So that kind of industry connect, if that comes along, like this kind of an event itself is an industry connect. If that comes along, I guess that will help us in revising the curricula. Mm-hmm. That's
so you talked about, providing employees, with the pay that they expect from the industry. Mm-hmm. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a firm of your own, where do you arrange resources from? Because not everybody is going to have availability of those resources. And it becomes really difficult sometimes. And entrepreneurs can just be like, okay, we are done with this. We cannot do it anymore. Let's get a job. At least it's stable. So where does an entrepreneur arrange resources from, especially when it's about your industry?
Okay. So largely, not a lot of people know that. So I did my first startup when I was in 10th. So that was a failed startup. I jumped my school. I skipped 2 years while people were studying for IITs and they were doing stuff. I was learning to code and I did some whatever I did, and I skipped my school. I skipped my 12th, got into architecture. That period taught me a lot about how industry works, and that taught me very clearly that I alone can only do enough. I need to have the right people with me. I need to have the right resources with me. Now, the bigger question comes along is that not everybody has those resources.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there are two routes of doing it. The first route that I myself adopted was that I made sure that my first company was something that built upon what was already existent in the market. It was not a shot in the dark. Space 5 is not a shot in the dark. It's a standard architecture studio, that just needs work from clients. We need to deliver the results and we get the money. So I would always tell or engage my fellow entrepreneurs that the first startup, when they don't have the resources, do it in something that is going to be a success, even if it might not create as much margins for you, but you know that it's going to be a success if you put in the right efforts into it. When I started Space 5, I started with my sister. That was a real sister. She was 2 years elder to me.
Yeah.
And I graduated in 2020, and I laid the foundation of Space 5 in 2019 while I was in my fourth year. And I used to be in university from 9 to 5, go back to the office after 5 to 9 and work all the way through. And that was a lot of work. It was me, my sister, and there were 3 guys who were from my own campus. And I told them that whatever fees I'll charge, I'll give you these much percentage, just work for me. They started working. We delivered our first project in 8 months. That project got a lot of limelight. Once that had a limelight, we started having a roll of clients, and we did break even in Space 5 by 2020 end. So into, let's say, 1.5 year, we were at break even level. We had invested 1 crore. We had built more than 1.5 crores just because we did something which was a sure shot. It's gonna happen. Let's say if an entrepreneur is in arts and he likes to make comics, so I would suggest do something in comics in the first start.
Right.
Get break your mold and just try to get a touch of the industry. How does it work? And I would never tell entrepreneurs to go for funding. I will never tell entrepreneurs that go and study in incubation centers. I don't do that. I'm a very clear-cut guy, and I'm that old school guy. I'm that Tata guy. I'm that HCL guy. I feel that if you really want to make industries, if you really want to make businesses, a lot of it should come from your gut and your willpower.
Right.
I'll share a story. So I was in Bangalore, and now since people know me and they know I'm a merchant, they reach out to me, and there were a lot of these candidates who were sitting up in these incubation centers and just waiting for some blue moon to shine upon themselves. That if that great thing will happen to us, some angel investor will come to us, he'll give us 1-2 crores, and we'll do that. See, that is never going to happen. Everybody's money is precious. So the first journey has to be in doing something which requires less resources. It should just use your brains, and then use people, give them some shares. Like I did that. I gave shares of my fees, of my profits. And once everything started rolling, then I raised some bank loans. And because I had some money coming, I raised some bank loans. Then with that bank loans, I made a bigger office. When I had a bigger office, I got some money from my dad.
Yeah.
Then I paid him back.
You just need to be financially smart. That's what you're saying.
You don't need multi-crores to make a business. Who says that?
You just need a little bit to multiply it.
Little bit to multiply it. Now, for example, if you talk about Map My House, it is a cash burn pit. I am dumping cash every month because that is a tech company.
Yeah.
And as a tech company, I need to put in cash for next 2 years before it can make any sense, because I am targeting a market which is very difficult to crack. If I had done it in the first place, I would have quit in the first month itself.
Yeah.
Now I have Space 5, that is my cushion. It gives me the money to run Map My House, which is my passion.
Yeah.
So that kind of smartness has to be there.
So sometimes what happens is you have employees, you deal with your employees on daily basis. But sometimes you just feel that there are few employees who are just not working according to the plan. You could find that difficult batch sometimes. How do you deal with them?
So firstly is that you need to get the right employees. And what are right employees? The right employee for you will be different, for me it will be different.
Right.
I can only give you my example. I don't know whether it applies to others or not. I have a team strength of 150 plus full-time PEs. And what I do is that there are 5 steps I often use in my company. First is that I am always looking neither for loyal people, nor I'm looking for talented people. I'm looking for learned loyalists. So I need somebody who's very loyal to what I'm doing, but who has the willingness to learn. Okay. The top guys who head the best departments in my companies, both Space 5 and Map My House, are not the guys who are from IITs. They're from very normal backgrounds, very normal institutions, but they're very loyal to the overall work that we do. if you put loyal people at the top positions now, they will make sure that the people at the bottom always work because they resonate my feeling.
Right.
So I try to find people who can resonate the same vibe. For example, we used to debate, we used to resonate the same vibe. That vibe has to be there. So get those learned loyalists, and they will not demand as much money also.
Yeah.
Get those right employees. Then systemize everything. Everything has to be systemized. Nobody does that. You talk to an entrepreneur, he will tell you, I just got great employees, I do that.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs talk about, being flexible.
There's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, in what sense flexible? For example, there are two ways. Let me jot it down to the systemizing of my work. When I started Space 5, even then I behaved as a corporate. When I started Map My House, I behaved as a corporate. Never did a single day did I tell my employees that this is a startup. Like, it's not a startup. It is a damn corporate. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. It's a corporate. I built 7 departments, put heads on everybody, even though the same person was controlling 4 departments.
Right.
But they were departments. There's a design department, there's an electrical department, there's an execution, there's a civil department, there's a management department. So these departmentization gives people some sense of work, how hierarchy works. And I don't know whether, contrary to the normal belief, I still have that Sir Ma'am culture in my, because I come from an architecture background.
Yeah.
And here we are taught that you got to say to even the senior is younger to you, got to tell them Sir and Ma'am. I still have that culture. Though my Delhi team sometimes says me that, that's awkward and that's backward. But somehow that has worked well for me. So hierarchy, systemizing everything. And the last approach that I often use is called democracy. Whatever bigger decision I have to take, be it a financial decision, be it a pivot that I have to make, we often do polling in our company. So we do a polling karenge. Let's say, let's run a poll. Who agrees to what? And everybody's poll counts as 1 vote. So right now at Map My House, we have 70 people. And out of them, 30 people are just working in sales. They're calling our MMH partners every day. Now, those girls who are working in sales, they have an equal vote share as I have. So, example, we had to decide upon the domain name for Map My House. So there was an option of mapmyhouse.com. There was an option for mmh.homes. Now, .com was worth 2 lakh. mmh.homes was worth 89 rupees.
Yeah.
Okay, we polled it. Everybody voted for mmh.homes. I voted for .com. Like, I can put the money, but they were like, why do you have to waste your money on that?
Yeah.
So that kind of democratization, hierarchy, systemization, if you have, and if you have the best and the most loyal people working for you at the top positions, take it and written from me, you will make an excellent, excellent corporation.
That is amazing, because I think that becomes an excuse to an entrepreneur. Why go and ask a lot of employees, let's take the decision, let's make it quick and fast. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
That's something great you're doing. And if I have to talk about the clients, you deal with clients, there could be some clients who are difficult. Dealing with them, getting their idea, understanding what they're expecting from you. And sometimes it might be a difficult situation. You might catch yourself in a situation where you're not just able to provide them with what they're asking for. How do you deal with such a situation? So,
Simran, what happens is that I have had my fair share of a lot of pesky clients, a lot of burnout clients who have taken me to the positions which I'd never want to touch back with, but they're important. If I say if they hadn't done what they did to me, I wouldn't have reached the place that I have reached. Clients can be pesky, they can be troublesome, be it any client, be it customers. Never short sell yourself. Just to get a project, if I charge 100 rupees a foot, and just to get that, if I charge 50, never short sell yourself. Never budge from your ethics. You might not get part, but don't budge from your ethics. There will be somebody who knows you, who understands you, and who respects you for your work.
Yeah.
And they'll be willing to pay you. You just need to reach out to those right guys. There is this great write-up by one of angel investors from Tiger Global. He often says that great companies are not built by getting the market share. No. People often say that, I need to have 80% market share of my field that I'm working in. No. What you need is that you need to just get the share of the most loyal customers that you want to have. The best ones.
Right.
Why do you think LV survives? Why do you think fashion brands survive? Because they have loyalists. Why do you think Apple survives? They have very less market share. But they do survive because you need to find the right customers. If you again and again keep on finding the shittiest customers out there, you can't make a mark.
Yeah.
And you will start doubting yourself, why the hell am I working? People are not liking my products, they're not liking what I'm doing, so why am I working? So it's always said that your customer won't find you. You got to find the right customer
Right.
and then hook him.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
But then it just becomes an art of saying no, I guess.
Art
You
of
know,
saying
a
no.
lot of people do not have that art. You know, it just somewhere hurts our feelings. You know, especially if I talk about people who just empathize with everybody. You know, they're like, we cannot just say no. Do you think that works?
Of course, I mean, if you are not able to say no, basically you are devoting a lot of your energy to things which you don't want to. You have seen me. I was kind of a yes man when I was in, and I was saying all yes to my professors, everybody. You see me right now, I'm very, very protective about my time, about my efforts, about my energies, where I'm available, where I'm not available, to what I contribute myself, to what I don't contribute myself. And that has paid me back in compounds. Because everybody respects care. If Harkaran is available in that time, that means it's a very, very precious time.
Yeah.
He's not there for everybody, right? Setting that branding is important. The art of saying no is not about I won't do this. No, it's about branding yourself. That is, he is not available for everything.
Yeah.
He's not that guy who will sit in every cabin, every person. He's available for everybody. When will he work? So saying no is a part of branding. Number one. Number two, when you say no, you basically set a lot of focus. Because when you say no to 7 people and you say yes to one person, you're giving them a lot of focus. Saying yes is that kind of an act.
So it just becomes, saying no is not an act of an egoist person.
It's about not seeking validation, Simran.
Yeah.
Why do you seek validation? People say no because they see us seeking validation. That, she should like me, the other person should like me. That's validation. Rather than validation, just seek feedbacks.
So that becomes one thing that an entrepreneur needs to learn before starting to walk on that path.
Definitely. They should learn it every day. And every day they should have a journal. Just keep a diary. Now I don't have it, but there was a time somebody comes to my house. There is a rack of diaries I have written since 2012. Every night I used to write a diary. My fall season. If I go back and read those diaries 2020, 10 years back, I'm a kid who's just fumbling ideas over there. But that kind of habits change you. They make you. They break you. They give you a chance to look at yourself. See, the idea is to mirror yourself to yourself, right? We mirror ourselves to Insta guys and we mirror ourselves. No. You're basically competing with yourself, your own insecurities, your own thoughts, your own ideas. And till the time you don't have that introspection, how can you do that? If you tell me 100 times a day, and Harkaran just start saying no to people, I won't do that. I got to introspect myself every day and know the damn reason why I'm going to say no and learn it. It's a feedback loop. I remember when we were in schools, our teachers used to say us, this is wrong. There's a feedback loop. Once we graduate, now that feedback loop goes off the hook. Nobody's giving you feedbacks. And taking feedbacks from yourself is the best thing you can do because you can't lie to yourself. Your conscience will never lie to you.
Again, it becomes what your gut says you.
So it's a feedback. Once you start refining it, you can do anything basically.
You take a lot of lessons from Gurbani. You share a lot of teachings from Gurbani, especially you've mentioned it, I think, in your bio as well. Sarbat da Pala is the mission that you're working on. What principles have you formed your organization on, and what principles do you pay attention to that these are the things that Harkaran has to abide by in everyday life?
So I don't know whether I abide to anything or that not, but that is my life, what you say. The motivation in my life, maybe you can say that. And why that became was when I did my first work and I got the money I wanted. Once you get that money, you then start questioning why the hell are you working so much? And that I often say in all the podcasts. Why are you working? You tell me. If you are making very good money every month and you don't have a family, you're just working for yourself, you're from a well-to-do family also, what's the next motivation? To make another million? Why? I had that time come to me in 2021 and I hit rock bottom. And once I hit that rock bottom, then when I started questioning, I realized who I was, and then since I'm brought up as a very devout Sikh, going back to Gurbani and that religious thought of spirituality, I often say the line, Man to Jyot Swaroop hai apna mool pachan. Understanding who you are in reality. Once you know that, then your mind will tell you your purpose. These capsule motivation guys who sell motivation on YouTube, they tell you, you got to find a purpose. You got to be motivated. How you are going to be motivated, you tell me. Unless it hits you here, it really pierces you here, you won't find a purpose.
Right.
And I can look into somebody's, I can tell them if they found their purpose or not. To have a purpose in life and the why of it is very important. And then I realized my why. I can't share. I realized my why, and that why led me to map my house, to make sure that I am of as much utilization. Of course, I'm a profitable guy, so I have to make money, but at the same time, it has to be for others, through others, built by others. And our mission with the companies I make is to be able to make anywhere close to, let's say, what Amul or Tata is. Amul is India's probably the biggest cooperative. So the people who started Amul, they are no longer the owners of Amul. They gave the entire company to the employees. Now employees run Amul. The milkman, the person who milks the cow, to the person who delivers the milk, to the person who makes the Amul, who pasteurizes the milk, everybody is a co-owner in the company. That is my loveliest motivation in life, that if I can build, let's say, 7 companies in my lifetime, and all of them are cooperatives, and they impact, let's say, if I have 1,000 employees, that means every person has 4 guys in their family. I'm impacting 4,000 people. And what more do you want to ask from life itself?
Yeah. So this is something that you can correct me on if I'm wrong, but I just know that you wake up really early in the morning and you devote some time to yourself. Is that a way to deal with the pressure? And if not, then if there are other entrepreneurs, the pressure just comes along. I think on this path, the pressure is just there. Apart from meditation, what other ways are there, which can help you sort of deal with that pressure?
See, the first is you need to, again, as I tell you, systemize your life. You got to work on some clockwork. You say that today I'll get up at 5 o'clock, tomorrow I'll get up at 10 o'clock, then I'll eat shit in the day, I'll eat crap in the day, and I think of doing miracles. You can't do that. You got to systemize your life. That's number one. You want to work in the night, work in the night. But whenever you get up at the right time. Same, just set up your circadian rhythm right. Invest a lot in the food that I don't invest that. My mother banishes me still today because I'm all for pizzas and burgers. But honestly, I want to invest a lot in my diet. And you got to really take care of your diet a lot when you're working so hard, when you're working so much, and there is so much pressure. When every first hits, when you have to remit so much salary, that's a lot of load on you. So your systems need to be there. Then of course, I don't know. I'm not somebody who can preach it, but I'll tell you for sure. I have data on it. Any person, and when you go back from the podcast, just read it. Any person who has built anything in this life, or they have done something good in their life, in business, most of them are spiritualists. They are not religious, they're spiritualists. They will have some calling. And to align with that spiritualism every day, for me that is Guru Nanak, for me that is Guru Bani. Might be for somebody else that is something else. For some people, spirituality is just giving back to the world. Aligning with that through whatever manners you do meditations, you do whatever you want to do. I guess that changes you. And that should be your motivation. Because mostly people, if I say no to you, you're selling me something, and if I say no, Simran, I don't like it, you will go back and you will cry, oh my God, why do you say no to me?
There'll be a lot of negative word of mouth sometimes as well.
Word of mouth. And if you are not motivated by something higher than yourself, how can you deal with 100 no's that will come your way in 1 month?
Right. So is there any message that you want to give to entrepreneurs? Budding entrepreneurs would be so happy to hear from you directly.
Honestly, there won't be a message, but as I have told in the podcast itself, try to work not for money. Just figure out one reason that you're working for, and then get the right guys with you who can really vibrate with your vision. And I guess the world will be for you, and it will reciprocate you. So that's probably what I would like to.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to have you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be coming back with new interactions with budding and leading entrepreneurs. Stay connected. Thank you.